Well, as we all do know, having to do with creative industry, in Ghana here, we liken it all to only one thing, and that is performing arts. But of course, if you ask me, I'll tell you, the creative art industry goes beyond that. Sculpture, painting, poetry, any other thing that has to do with visuals, rather than just performing, is art. Anything around us is an art. The greatest of all artists of all time is the creator. And look around us, so beautiful, isn't it? We are actually embarking upon a journey, and I need you to come with us. Live it. My name is Derek Walalong Johnson.
Live it. Painting has always explained the history of prolonged migrations and complex settlement patterns in various African communities.
Art is not for a few, it's for the people. Art really belongs to everybody. And we can use the artistic, the creative talents which art promotes to develop, not only to extend our culture and to improve development.
Portable artifacts such as pots, mats, clothes, tools, and headrests have enabled the migration of history through time. But paintings and big sculptures dominate the era of today, as Westerners' response has grown positively to collecting that of civilization.
I love art, and when I heard about this, I've been to the Artists Alliance many times, and when I heard they were opening their vaults, so that meant that there were things here I hadn't seen, and this is a reason to celebrate.
Live it. Born in Accra in 1934, Professor Blady Glover amassed series of distinctions, having been trained in Ghana, Britain, and the United States of America. He is capped a world-renowned painter of our time and an educator in art on both local and international scenes. Some great works of his include Don't You Hear, painted in 1986.
You were 4 years.
I was in class 1. I was 6 years.
Which sought to correct indiscipline in society. Others of Market Women, Accra Flats, The Forest, etc. One of his greatest achievements of all times is the establishment of Artists Alliance, giving African artists the grounds to sell in their masterpieces.
Hi, on our maiden edition of Live It with me, Derek Walalong Johnson, we're privileged to have the Professor Blady Glover. Now, art comes in various forms and in diverse ways. Today, privileged again, is going to be telling us what art actually is and all that entails with it. Hi, Prof. Welcome to the program. Now, you are an art professor. What would you say art actually is?
Art is the creative expression of a people. That's what we call art. All peoples, anywhere, have a way of expressing themselves creatively.
Okay.
This urge to express oneself becomes dominant when man has eaten and has found a shelter over his head. When he is full, there are certain urges in life. There are certain demands in life. This body demands certain things from us. You feed this body. This body must have petrol to go on. So we feed the body. Having fed the body, we want to protect this body, so we find shelter. Having shelter, then we begin to look at things that are beautiful. we want to express ourselves. It's an innate thing. It's inside, it's innate thing. All cultures. Some cultures begin to do it on walls. They scratch things on walls or caves. Some cultures actually decorate their bodies. They carry the decoration along wherever they go. So you have people smearing things and making designs on their bodies, body painting, all that. All that kind of behavior is what we call art.
Wow, that's actually interesting. But what can you tell us about your being in this profession for quite some time?
I've lived all my life as an artist, all my life, from the day I woke up and realized that, hey, I like this thing. I didn't start at going to art. Yesterday I was mentioning it on this program. I didn't start thinking that I'm going to be anything called artist. In my day, to think of it must be crazy. You know, nobody thought of it. But I happen to be a teacher. I went to do teaching for certain reasons. I went to teaching, and having gotten into teaching, landed in teaching, I realized I didn't like it. So I wanted to do something that I would like within the same area. And during the training, teacher training, we were introduced to art. So you could be an art teacher. Okay. This is how I thought I could escape from the classroom, teaching children A, B, and C, and 2 plus 2 and all that. So it's a way to escape from the rigors of actual teaching. I wanted to be an art teacher, and I went to train as an art teacher. And in that training, I realized, hey, I love this. It's not just doing something, earning money, but I liked it. So I came out teaching. Okay. I taught in some few schools, primary schools. Then I taught at Winneba, and then I wanted to go in more. Hey, listen. So I went on and on and on, and I loved what I was doing. Now retired, I retired into art. Okay. So you see, it's become a bonus. Most people will retire from what they do and they retire, but having retired, I really realize my retirement is getting more exciting than when I was working.
Wow, Professor, we would like to know how much of your life is being reformed or transformed since getting into this industry?
Now, my art thing picked up when I was actually in teacher training. In school, yes, I did little things, like a teacher wants some drawing to do teaching, and so you do it on a board for him, that kind of thing. They say, oh, you are good, you are good. I didn't listen to those things seriously. It was in teacher training where I met this teacher who thought, and normally he talked seriously. He was like, hey, you are good. You're good, you're good. And you know, I think when people keep telling you you're good or you are bad, you would be bad. And if they say you are good, you grow up to be good. I think so. I think that's what good. It's psychological, I believe. This teacher was a very good teacher. He kept pumping to my head. And every stroke I made on a piece of paper, he said, hey, I'm glad to improve that. That's good. You can work on it, you know, that kind of thing. And by the time I finished the training, even though I didn't do art seriously, by the time I finished the training, I knew, hey, when it comes to drawing or doing things with one's hands, I would be okay. So yes, my parents encouraged me, I must say. I rather was pushing myself because I didn't want to be any teacher or an artist, kind of. But because of our condition, they thought, hey, if you got an opening, you better use it. So every opening that came to me, they encouraged me to, hey, use it. Yes, it's good. Go on. That's right. So that is how it came about, yes.
So would you love to tell us what are some of the artistic scenarios when we're talking about works of art, artifacts, be it sculpture, painting, poetry, architecture? What are those artistic scenarios associated with them?
Well, let's go. Let's travel some distance back. Those who were fishing here, fishermen, had canoes. They could take these canoes, just right out, do their fishing and come back. But they take their time, particularly on Tuesdays when they don't go into fishing, to decorate these canoes. Draw things on the canoe, beautiful, decorate them nicely. Decorate the tools they use. Take our very far north. They grow cotton. And they use the cotton to weave certain things. Plus, even the very grass, they use the grass to weave baskets and things. They use the things from the environment. They pick things from the environment. Ashanti Kente, they use silk. It's the amazing thing that they use silk. But we're told, indeed, it was silk that has woven silk that was brought in, were unwoven. And actually, the material, that's how it started. The material, which is the yarns, the silk yarns, were used to start weaving these kente. Otherwise, they were also weaving in cotton, what was grown in. So yes, the environment does dictate what you do and what you don't do. Down south here, we don't carve a lot because we have no trees and such things. Yeah. But those areas that have trees, forests and so on, when those trees are falling, they use them in making drums. They cut them up, they use them in making drums. Sometimes the drums are decorated, carved with designs and so on. Plus they carve masks. There are some cultures that use masks because they use masks to tell some people to go away. Okay. Particularly women and children, when they are doing certain ceremonies. Yeah. So they must frighten the children away. And yes. So the environment does dictate what you do, how you express yourself, and so on.
Now, this one is very interesting. Sometimes you take a look at an artwork and you don't see that beauty that you were looking for in it, but they are so expensive. Now, when it comes to valuing or how to value an artwork, what would you like to tell us about it?
Exactly. You asked $1 million question. How do you value an artifact, a piece of work of art? Has a lot to do with the artist's commitment over the years. Now, today, my work may be more expensive than the work of another artist who has just started because he's unknown. Now, people value your commitment because they know that the piece of work that they have purchased has a history. And it doesn't end with that work, but it goes on. So, yes, it has to do with the artist's commitment and having, could I say, survived.
It is relentless effort.
Relentless effort over the years. So he has carved for himself a niche. He's carved for himself a name for himself. And that's one. Unfortunately, and I must say unfortunately, when the artist dies, that work is no more it's no more just a piece of work of art. The work is priceless because it's there, and nobody can produce a thing like that again. Wow. Yeah. So all dead artists have value on their work, but that artist must have made it in his lifetime for it to have value after his death. You get me? Yeah. So today we have people like Kofi Antuman. They are looking for his work. We have, all our dead artists, people are looking for their work. Mm. Wow. And even as you live, the people come to me, they want the work I painted 20 years ago or 25 years ago. Wow. They don't want the work I'm painting today. You see. So they know that work has been the starting point for what I'm doing today.
So, Professor, what has been your inspiration?
My inspiration?
Yes.
Oh, I'm inspired by the beautiful things around me. There's so much beauty around us. So much beauty. And for me, one thing that's intriguing is the structure of the society, it is like chaotic, but there is order in it. The order in disorder. Our society is like that, the order in disorder. There is so much disorder superficially, but down there is order. And I think that's order we need to cultivate. We need to bring out. There is order in it, in our society. We see that kind of beautiful disorder, disorderliness in our markets, in our lorry stations, the queues where we need to do queues. People have to form a queue. They don't. People want to jump the queue and so on. It seems as if there is disorder. But in it all, there is a very subtle order that we need to bring out as a people.
Wonderful discussions with you on this juncture.
Live it.
Now, staring before our camera lens is actually a beautiful painting. This was done 5 years back, 2007. But it is still here, painted by the Professor Bloody Glover. Now, his paintings, because he's a famous man, he's a famous one. His painting sells very fast, but this very painting and few others of his are still around. He named this one The Forest. But as to why he's chosen to use vermilion in the hue of red, nobody knows. He's yet to tell us why he has chosen red for this sort of painting, while he named it a forest.
Subjects you pick is to convey a message.
Okay.
The message here I want to convey is the strength and growth. You see a tree standing out there, and I saw a tree. What attracted me about that tree is its growth, the strength and growth of it. You know, for me, it's more spiritual than anything else. And so it is not the tree per se. Okay. It is the outburst.
The blossom.
Yes, and I chose the color red.
Yeah, why?
That, exactly, the strength in red.
Why vermilion?
That's right. Yeah. Yes, the strength in the red. It is the strength and the growth of it bursting out. Wow. No, you're making me shout now. But, so it is a bursting out, which if this picture, if the painting conveys that to you, then I have been successful. If it doesn't convey strength and growth, okay, and outburst, okay, then I failed. There are paintings, you paint a lot of paintings, but there are others that come out and you know that you didn't paint it. I know. There are some that I feel that, because if you go about painting it again, you can't. You simply cannot.
Exactly.
You simply
exactly.
cannot. The way I paint.
And that's very unique.
That's
about
right.
painting.
The way I go about it, I simply cannot repeat the same thing again. And therefore, at some point, something carries you beyond yourself. And then you come out with something that you wonder. Wow. Thank you.
It's a great painting.
Nice, thank you.
We'll
nice
get into your studio subsequently.
Thank you, yes.
Live it. Sculpture, poetry, ceramics, and painting are all forms of art just like the performing arts. But here in Ghana, the performing arts appears to be receiving all the attention whenever discussions about the arts are held, relegating the visual or fine arts to the background. A host of Ghanaian visual artists such as Amon Kote, who designed Ghana's coat of arms, and others who have in diverse ways crafted significant portions of the country's landmark, remain relatively unknown in their own country, yet they are big players on the international scene. Every artifact produced by a visual artist has its own meaning and its intended use. Paintings, for instance, do have a psychological impact on their consumers. They have the tendency to heal the sick or revive one's spirit. But Paintings can also subject one to emotional torture, depending on the kind of material and colors used to execute them. Artifacts, such as this huge masterpiece often seen in hotels, are forever owned by their makers because they are only meant to be hired for a period of time and brought back to the owner. They are often tagged as priceless. The mystery surrounding it is enough to make you fall in love with it. It would be a bit hard to keep such artifacts at home, but there is always something for everyone in the gallery.
They feel relevant, they feel topical, they feel like something I can relate to. Colors are very vibrant, the pictures are clearly African, they're not a copy of anything else from some other place.
People hold different perceptions about artists, but art enthusiasts think they are a marvel and their handiworks make a living meaningful to man.
I believe being a Ghanaian and an African for that matter, there's so much to learn from the art. And to tell you, there's so many things that we're missing because we don't even know where we're coming from. And for me, having traveled across this country, I'm learning so much. So every time I'm trying to see what there is that I haven't learned yet. And I have a group of friends to young people that are really so much interested in this. Some are in the country and others are not in the country, but still they want to know about their roots. You cannot stop learning, especially about our roots.
I have visited a few art studios and galleries and met with some giants of the industry.
Most of my artwork is to highlight the one to my right. It's a question I'm asking. Nicaragua, is it a slum or paradise? For people outside, they'll see it as a slum. But those who live in there have a whole different experience and whole joy, which people in the most sophisticated urban areas may not even really experience that joy.
Ignorance is always a disease, as people say. But art is truly for blessedness. Now let me say this to the whole world, that in a nation where people don't embrace art and science, that nation never develops.
I want every Ghanaian to appreciate art and see it to be something so special that every home should at least have a piece of art to show the heritage and the culture of the Ghanaian people.
But do Ghanaians appreciate art? Yes, they do. But parting with a few hundred cedis is not the average Ghanaian's ideal way of owning a piece of artwork. That's where Ghanaians lack the passion for art. But for luxury, the least said, the better. Renowned Ghanaian painter Nana Yawakwa believes the Ghanaian artist wields enormous potential, and since art is now a serious business in other parts of the world, there is the need to invest in the Ghanaian artist.
If you decide to promote contemporary Ghanaian art, but how are you going to do it? Conviction. Do we have true connoisseurs? The so-called Ghanaian buyer is someone who has some money to spare. Kojo is buying. I went to Kojo's place, he bought a new set of furniture. And he's got some wall pictures. Unfortunately, that's how the so-called Ghanaian, or creme de la creme, let's put it that way, right? They are not up there yet. But art is serious business. Art is an investment. The value you expect people to put on you depends on the premium you are willing to sacrifice on your own head.
One important aspect en route to loving artwork, therefore, is trying to trace the message they carry and, gradually, the conviction to support the contemporary African artist would eat into our existence. The artist will not give up on what he does best. Fortunately, the interest of the average Ghanaian in the visual arts is growing, and one can only hope this interest translates into the pictures of works created by these artists.
Because every artist tries to communicate. Now, in the realm of communication, there are two main sources of communication: the process school and, of course, the semiotic. Now, these ones that you see around, you just look at them and you could tell the kind of communication they are trying to put across. That one is very simple. Now, there are some that are semiotic. These ones, you need to boggle your mind up to understand them. That is the beauty of art. The journey has just begun. We have more episodes in stock for you. Leave it return same time next week. I'm Derek Walalong Johnson. So much thanks to our sponsors and of course, Professor Bloody Glover. Goodbye.